Rachel is a girl with a rich imagination. Looking out the train window, she thinks about the people living next to the railway. She is curious to learn everything about them. Twice a day, the wagon window looks out over Rachel's favorite house. A young woman lives here. Rachel has been observing her for about a year, and gradually she has become very important to her. This woman has everything that Rachel has lost and dreams of. Rachel sketches what she sees and imagines what life could be like for this woman and her husband. Their couple seems ideal. Rachel with her ex-husband Tom used to live next door to them. Now Tom lives in this house with his new wife and their child. While Rachel is on the train, she constantly drinks. This is her destructive habit. Next, we meet the very same girl named Megan. The events take us back 6 months. Megan does not like this town where life is very boring. She tells her psychologist Dr. Kamal Abdich about her complicated relationship with her husband and how she ran away from home at 17 with her boyfriend. Secretly from everyone, they lived in a hunting lodge in the forest. Megan's life used to be bright and full of impressions, but now it's in the past. Scott, Megan's husband, believes that if she works as a nanny, she will also want to get pregnant. But Megan has no such plans. Next, Anna, Tom's new wife, is introduced to us. This happens in the present time. All of Anna's interests are devoted to her little daughter. Megan helps her as a nanny. She clearly does not share the same delight with the baby as Anna does. That same evening, Megan said that she had found another job because this is not for her. Of course Anna was not pleased with this news. She doesn't work but constantly goes to various stores and farmers markets to choose the freshest products for her daughter. According to Anna, there is no more important work than raising a child. But this didn't convince Megan, so she left. Anna recalls the terrible day when she saw through the window her daughter in Rachel's arms. This still terrifies Anna. Tom returned from work. Anna told him that his ex-wife had been calling them again from an unknown number. Anna is tired of Rachel's stalking, but Tom promised to talk to her. Also, Tom was unpleasantly surprised to find out that Megan quit. Meanwhile, Rachel got off the train at the station, and as usual went to the store for alcohol. At night, she was drinking, looking at her ex-husband's Facebook, and then called him. Katie, Rachel's friend who took her in, saw this and poured the wine down the sink. Rachel has been living with Katie for 2 years. After the divorce, she had nowhere to go. Falling asleep, Rachel remembers how she and her husband tried to have a child, but all their attempts were in vain. The doctors couldn't help. The next day, as usual, Rachel is on the train, looking at her favorite house. She wonders if the girl ever notices the train. Suddenly Rachel realizes that the girl is standing on the balcony not with her husband, but with another man. This horrifies Rachel. She doesn't want the girl to make a mistake and lose everything. From the stress, Rachel drinks again, unable to stop thinking about the girl and that man. Rachel also recalls finding her husband's correspondence with Anna, who worked as a realtor. Rachel complains about her life to a strange woman at the bar. She's desperate because Anna has taken her place and lives in her house. Today Rachel experienced all that anger again when she saw that woman betraying her husband. In a rush of emotions, Rachel said that at that moment she was ready to hurt her, so strong was the anger. After the bar, Rachel being drunk is on the train again. Seeing that house from the window, Rachel got off at the stop. A man from the train noticed that she was in an inadequate state and followed her. Rachel turned into the woods to get away from him. Seeing Megan, she ran after her, shouting insults. When Rachel woke up in the morning, she didn't remember anything. She listened to a voicemail from her ex-husband, who as it turned out had been driving around yesterday looking for her. According to Tom, Rachel greatly scared Anna, and he barely persuaded her not to go to the police. Now Tom wants one thing, for his ex-wife to stop bothering them. Rachel doesn't understand what happened that night. She hurried to wash off the dirt. Katie was knocking on the door, demanding explanations, but Rachel wasn't ready to talk to anyone about it yet. To recover her memories, Rachel watches the video on her phone in which she and the woman from the bar are insulting Anna. Shortly after that, Rachel ran after Megan. Something terrible clearly happened that night. Rachel is on the train again, continuing to remember. Maybe she went to Megan's house last night and committed a crime. To cope with her addiction, Rachel attended Alcoholics Anonymous. It was her turn to talk about herself. Rachel admitted that while still married, she often did various shameful things while drunk, and then didn't remember anything. The husband was constantly apologizing for her to others. Rachel got on the train again. At some point she saw a familiar face, remembering how some time ago she was rude to Martha, Tom's boss's wife. It happened during a party. That night Rachel lost control. Tom tried to reason with his wife, but she acted aggressively again. This always happens when she is drunk. At Katie's house, police officers were waiting for Rachel. Detective Riley asks where Rachel was on Friday night. Rachel lied that she was at work, then decided to visit her ex-husband and got off at the station, but then realized it was a bad idea. Detective Riley showed Rachel a photo of Megan and informed that this woman was missing. That evening, witnesses had seen Rachel following Megan. Rachel denies everything. But that's not the only lie the detectives caught her in. It turns out that Rachel was fired from her job a year ago due to alcohol problems. When the detectives left, Katie asked her friend what she did all day if she wasn't working. Rachel admitted that she rides the train. She spends her last money on tickets to nowhere. Katie has no intention of putting up with it and wants Rachel to move out within 2 weeks. In turn, remembering something, Rachel caught up with the detectives and said that the day before, she saw Megan with some man. However, Detective Riley does not believe this story. The officer believes that last night Rachel confused Megan with Anna because they look similar. Tom's wife has repeatedly reported to the police that Rachel has been bothering them. Next, we are taken back 4 months. Megan told her therapist that she constantly lies to her husband. She has many affairs. According to Megan, Scott is jealous and likes to control everything. But she is not satisfied with this. Megan also confessed to Kamal that she thinks about him all the time. In the present, Rachel reads about Megan's disappearance and learns that she lost her brother and parents long ago. Now her husband Scott is asking anyone with any information to contact him. Anna saw from the window how Rachel visited Scott. She introduced herself as Megan's friend, lying that they worked together at the gallery. Rachel admitted to Scott that she saw Megan with another man on Friday morning. Hearing this, Scott was broken. Rachel described the features of that man. Scott could barely contain his anger. When he offered Rachel a drink, she could not refuse. Scott suspected that this man was his wife's therapist, Kamal Abdic. When he showed Rachel a photograph, she confirmed that Megan was with this man. 2 months ago, Megan was texting her lover. After the meeting, as if nothing had happened, she returned home. This is driving Scott crazy. With tears in her eyes, Megan told Kamal about how her husband brings every conversation to the point of getting her pregnant. For Megan, this was unbearable, as she is not ready to become a mother. This is connected with her past. Megan is interested in Kamal, but he makes it clear that they are just doctor and patient. In the present, Rachel sees on the news how Kamal is summoned for questioning. For the first time in years, Rachel has a goal. She wants to find out what happened to Megan at any cost. Receiving a message from Scott, she rushed to him immediately. Scott was on edge because the police had released Kamal due to a lack of evidence. However, now Scott has come under suspicion by the police because Kamal told the police about the therapy sessions. According to Kamal, Scott was a jealous and suspicious husband. Upon leaving Scott's house, Rachel saw Anna and the ex-husband. Some memories returned to her. Rachel began to insist that Anna hit her on Friday evening. But Tom said that was complete nonsense. Anna wasn't in the tunnel that night at all. Tom again asks his ex-wife to never bother them again. The fact that Rachel is helping Scott find Megan puts him in even more confusion. Tom believes his ex-wife has lost her mind. Soon Rachel went to a therapy session to Kamal, hoping to learn more information about him. Also, Rachel talked about her memory lapses. Often when Rachel wakes up in the morning, and other people tell her what she did, Rachel gets the impression that it wasn't her. Rachel has repeatedly tried to restore her memories with drawings, but to no avail. The therapist asked the patient why she started drinking. Rachel shared that she really wanted to get pregnant. She and Tom tried everything, but nothing helped. In the end, Rachel fell into depression. Anna came to the police station to report that Rachel is bothering her family again. Tom constantly receives messages, and also calls from an unknown number, but Anna has no doubt that it's Rachel. Officer Riley cannot help Anna. Rachel's messages contain no threats. Besides, the detective suspects that perhaps Tom himself doesn't mind communicating with his ex-wife. Anna began to doubt her husband, so she tried to hack his laptop, but failed. Rachel looks at her drawings hoping to remember at least something. She didn't expect to see Scott at the doorstep at all. There are reporters outside his house 24 hours a day, so he has nowhere else to go. Scott shared that he found out from the detective that Megan was pregnant. She told her therapist about it, but not her husband. Scott always dreamed of becoming a father, but Megan each time had some excuses. This was the reason for constant quarrels. In the end, Scott fell asleep right in Rachel's room. The events then take us back to the past again. Megan couldn't sleep, so she went to Kamal in the middle of the night. She shouldn't be here, but she also needs to finally tell someone what has been tormenting her all these years. Many years ago, when Rachel and her boyfriend lived in the hunting lodge, they had a daughter, Elizabeth. Megan was afraid it would be hard, but she was wrong. Motherhood was her happiness. Once in December, Rachel and her boyfriend had a fight, and he left somewhere. The roof was leaking. It was cold in the house, so Megan decided to warm up in the bath and take Elizabeth with her. Megan fell asleep, and when she woke up, there was nothing that could help Elizabeth. Remembering this, Megan can't hold back her emotions and cries. After what happened, her beloved left and never returned again. Rachel came back for another therapy session with Kamal and shared how she once got drunk and returned to her old house. She truly missed that place. Anna was asleep, so Rachel could take the baby in her arms unhindered. Rachel had no bad intentions, but Anna, who woke up and saw it, didn't think so. Soon the news reported that Megan's body was found. The police are investigating. Reporters are hounding Scott everywhere. Rachel is no less stressed because what she feared the most happened. Anna saw Rachel near Scott's house. Tom notices that Anna has changed. The spark seems to be gone from their relationship. Anna confessed that she often thought about how they used to date in secret from Rachel. Anna asked Tom if he liked deceiving his wife. Tom asked her not to dwell on it. But Anna cannot stop thinking about it, considering Rachel dangerous. Moreover, it seems suspicious to Anna that Rachel is always hanging around Scott's house. Maybe she was involved in what happened to Megan. However, Tom does not believe this. When Rachel returned home, Scott was here, and he was clearly angry. It turned out that the results of the expertise were ready, according to which neither Scott nor Kamal was the father of Rachel's baby. So there is a third person involved. Also, Scott found out that Rachel is not Megan's friend at all, but the crazy ex-wife of their neighbor Tom. This deception infuriated Scott. Now the detectives suspect that he and Rachel are having an affair. But Scott would never look at someone like her. When Scott left, Rachel rushed to the police station to report him for breaking into her apartment. However, Detective Riley has her own version of all the events. She believes that Rachel was in love with Scott, her former neighbor. That's why Megan was an obstacle for her. And now when Scott rejected Rachel, she decided to retaliate in this way. Of course, Rachel denies it and insists that Scott took Megan's life. Detective Riley said that Scott has a solid alibi. Security camera footage confirms that Scott was in a bar that night. The events then take us back to last Friday. Megan took a pregnancy test and called her lover for a meeting. Kamal came to support her shortly. There are no romantic relationships between him and Megan. Kamal just wants to help Megan overcome her fear of motherhood. However, Rachel, who witnessed this, understood it differently. In the present, Rachel is sitting in the bar again and notices the same man from the train. She asked why he was following her. But the man simply lives nearby and walks through that tunnel every day. When he saw how drunk Rachel fell that night, he just wanted to help her. That's all he knows. Rachel starts to believe that she is indeed the criminal the police are looking for. Rachel is determined to find out the truth at any cost. Having packed her things and written a thank you note for Katie, Rachel got on the train again. Seeing Martha, she decided to approach and apologize for her behavior. However, Martha doesn't understand what Rachel is talking about. According to her, Rachel never acted aggressively. At the party, she had too much to drink, and Martha offered her to rest in the guest bedroom. Only now Rachel remembered what really happened. Tom, as usual, lost his temper and took out his anger on his wife. It happened all the time. It turned out that Tom was fired for office intrigues, not because of his wife. Martha genuinely felt sorry for Rachel. Anna is again trying to guess Tom's laptop password, but to no avail. Suddenly she found a second mobile phone in his bag. Turning it on, Anna saw her husband's correspondence with another woman. When Tom returned, Anna tried to pretend that everything was all right. Meanwhile, Rachel went back into that tunnel, recalling the events of the fatal night in her memory. Waiting until Tom fell asleep, Anna went out and dialed the woman with whom her husband was texting. Anna did not expect to hear Megan on voicemail. That's how she realized that Tom was secretly dating Megan. Rachel finally remembered everything. When she was following Megan, she saw her get into Tom's car. Noticing his ex-wife, Tom was afraid of being exposed as unfaithful and took Rachel away, then pushed her. Later, the man from the train, having seen this, tried to help Rachel, but she drove him away. Determined, Rachel went to Anna to tell her that Tom was deceiving her. Rachel also claimed that Tom was involved in what happened to Megan. Anna refuses to believe this and leaves for the house. As Rachel starts screaming about Tom's guilt to the whole street, he had to let her in. Rachel demanded that the ex-husband confess what he has done. At this moment, Anna told her husband that she found his correspondence with Megan. It turns out that all these nighttime calls were not from Rachel at all. Tom blames his wife, who spent all her time on the daughter and didn't care about her husband. Rachel tried to inconspicuously call the police, but Tom took her phone and then knocked her out. Then we go back to that fateful night. When Megan got into Tom's car, she offered to go to the forest. They had met here before, but now Megan wanted to talk. Upon learning of Megan's pregnancy, Tom was, to put it mildly, not happy and told her to sort it out. When Megan refused to fulfill his demand, he pushed her, but he didn't stop there. In the present, Tom called Rachel worthless, saying that no one needs her and it is all her own fault. Rachel tried to escape, but the door was locked. Eventually she managed to get out onto the street. Tom chased after her, so Rachel had to fight him back. Anna realized that she had been living a lie all this time. Detectives arrived soon. Scott watched it. At first Detective Riley thought that Rachel had committed another crime, but after hearing from her and Anna, she understood that Tom was to blame for everything. Rachel was just defending herself and Anna. Some time passed. Rachel visited Megan's grave. It was she who tied their destinies together. Now Rachel doesn't drink and pursues her favorite hobby, painting. Today she gets into a different train carriage and looks only ahead. Rachel is not the person she used to be.